Everybody, Junior 2000 here, coming at you with a movie review of George A. Romero's Land of the Dead. I believe this is like his fourth Living Dead film in the Living Dead series. Because originally this movie was called Twilight of the Dead when it was in pre-production, and of course they did that reference in House of the Dead where Romero's making the fourth film. It's called Twilight of the Dead, and we don't know when that's coming out. Well, of course, that was the original title, and they made a reference to like that movie being made. They would change it to Land of the Dead because Twilight of the Dead was originally the real name for this film, but they changed it to Land of the Dead, which I think was a cool name. I really enjoyed Land of the Dead. I really think it's one of the most underrated zombie films that gets a lot of shit on. A lot of people say that this is a shitty zombie movie. I highly disagree. I think this is one of the most underrated zombies movies, up there with Fulci's Zombie 2. That's a movie that's underrated. That's a zombie film that's underrated. Even even The Beyond is an underrated film, and that it got shit on by Cisco and Ebert. Fuck Cisco and Ebert. Of course, you got this art. This was the collection edition Blu-ray that Screen Factory released it with anything that was worth a shit back in the day, back when Screen Factory was owned by a lot of people that gave a shit about their features, and they interviewed a lot of people in this movie on set of the special features of this film. They interviewed the four main zombies, including Eugene Clark, who plays Big Daddy, who is the main zombie leader of the film. And of course, I voted everybody who do you think is the best zombie leader in the Romero films, and this one got voted with the character Big Daddy being the most voted one. Second being the lead was Bud from Day of the Dead, and third being I think Bill Heisman's zombie and from Night Living Dead, and then Flight Boy zombie being like the least voted. But all in all, I like those four zombies, especially this one, Big Daddy, who's played by Eugene Clark. His zombie's pretty cool in this movie. Of course, he uses a gun in the movie, which is awesome, and he has a very scary yelling voice. Of course, he's interviewed, and even like the other um, actors that played the main zombies, like the butcher zombie, is interviewed, and even the baseball girl zombie is interviewed too. So that's cool that they got them fourth interviewed for a little documentary interview. They interviewed the guy who plays Fillsbury, the big Samoan survivor character. That's cool that he's interviewed because I only seen that guy in a few movies. I know I seen him in this movie called Polar, which is like a John Wick ripoff that Netflix made. He was like a character that gets killed by that John Wick ripoff dude, where he gets a nail gun to his head and his dick and stuff. He has a brutal death scene, but yeah, that guy I haven't seen him in a lot of. He appeared in like some small parts, but this was like one of his main supporting characters that he has in the movie, playing this character Fillsbury, who's like a big Samoan guy that's like one of the survivors, and he kicks ass too. Of course, you get an interview with Robert Joy, who played Charlie in the movie. He was like Riley's friend that helps him and stuff in the movie. Of course, Robert Joy was in the remake of Hills Have Eyes. He was the main bad guy, mutant leader of that film. He was the Jupiter one, the one that Doug has a brutal, vicious fight with him with the shotgun, where he just hits but him with the gun and shit. That's Robert Joy. He plays the main mutant villain in that Hills Have Eyes remake. So yeah, he plays Charlie, who's a great character in the movie. John Leguizamo. I was surprised he was interviewed too. Like, really, they got John Leguizamo's interview? Like, see, that shows you that Screen Factory gave a shit about their features. that shows you that they gave a shit about their features, how they got really good people interviewed. And you can compare it to like fucking current shit that Screen Factory is dealing with, not having nobody interviewed, and of course, some of the people that worked on Screen Factory left, including Sean Clark, who did Horror's Hollow Ground. He's not doing Horror Hollow Ground with Screen Factory anymore. That's why you don't get that in the special features no more, because Screen Factory weren't doing shit with him, so he said fuck Screen Factory and he left. So that's why you see that they gave a shit about their features. They gave a shit about their transfers. They gave you reversible artwork with the original poster, which is pretty badass. But on and on, it baffles me that it's just like they lackluster a lot of features. Like, come on. And of course, the ones that are not working there that gave you collector edition, they're not doing that shit no more. They're repramping everything into 4K, and it's like, really? Why do they have to repamp everything into like 4K? Like, it's not the same. They already got new. They already got like new transfer scans on them. Like, what more can they do? I bet this is gonna get a 4K because Dawn of the Dead remake got a 4K, and this one came out when Dawn of the Dead remake came out with a collector edition, like this one and Dawn of the Dead remake. So I bet this is gonna get a 4K later. But I'm cool with this Blu-ray. It looks good. I'm cool with it. The dead shall inherit the earth. The line of the movie. On and on. I really enjoy this film. Um, I really saw this. I saw this movie when in theaters, like months after it came out. It was like around the time. Was it It was like months after it came out, and it was already gonna be like already done. Nobody was in theaters, so it was me and my dad and my sister that went to go see this movie, and this was a pretty awesome movie to see back in 2005. I really enjoyed this movie. I do have some cons with the movie. Not that I'm saying this movie is so criminally underrated. There are some cons with the movie. I'll get to them. But all in all, I really think this movie is super underrated. It got too much shit on when it came out. And I do like the new artwork on this one that came out when this got the slipcover. You got the new artwork, commission artwork as they call it. Pretty badass. And this one's about the fourth Living Dead film in the Romero series. And it's directed by George A. Romero. Rest in peace. The godfather of horror movies. Not horror movies, but like godfather of zombie films. As everybody calls him. The godfather of zombie films. Because he gave us Night, Living the Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Of course, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. And also Creepshow. The Dark Half, Monkey Shine, Martin, The Crazies, and the list goes on. He is the godfather of zombie films. And yes, I really enjoy this film. This movie is like the fourth film, and it starts off with everything being the zombie apocalypse. Everything's turned into shit and rot. All the zombies are ruling the world, and there's civilians and human lives that are like trying to fight back at the zombies and trying to cooperate by not getting caught by the zombies, not getting infected or bit by them. So they get to war with them. And then the lead character is played by Simon Baker, who did a solid job as Riley Dembo. But I kind of wish John Leguizamo was the lead of the movie because his acting was on point. Like it was really good. I kind of wish he was the lead. John Leguizamo is just I don't know about his acting. He's a good actor. He just feels charismatic in his performance. But he plays a character named Cholo, who's kind of an arrogant ass at times, but a bit like hot head towards or cool guy. But like he's a bit hot headed, cool guy mixed to it. And then you get Robert Joy, who is Riley's best friend, Charlie. and he has a burnt face, and he even explains that why he has a burnt face because he was in a fire and burned him, and Riley pulled him out and saved his life, so he owes his life to Riley. But all in all, those are great characters. Um, they go in the opening where they start encountering some, like the opening does like reflects of what's going on in the world. How is everybody getting affected by the zombies? They're getting eaten. They're getting killed limb by limb. Their bodies are being ripped apart, being torn, being chewed, and being ripped from limb. And then you get all the zombies. Of course, you get the main leader zombie, Big Daddy, played by Eugene Clark. He's like the mechanic zombie, where he's like has like a big, really creepy growling, yelling voice. Ruh, ruh. But on and on. He's like the main leader zombie that controls everybody. He even captures one human guy's gun and holds it and carries it until he uses it later in the movie. Of course, like his semi assistant soldiers that are with him is like the baseball girl zombie and the butcher zombie with a meat cleaver, and everybody else with other dead zombies going after to this world called this building called Whippler's Green or something. And of course, everybody gets attacked, especially one of the characters that was hanging out with Riley, like a young kid. He gets his arm bit because Cholo's a jackass. He first got attacked by a zombie and then kills it, and then he goes and grabs bullets and then just drops them in the floor and tells him the kid to pick him up. And of course, the kid grabs him and then boom, gets his hand caught and bit off. His wrist gets chewed off by a zombie cop. And of course, Riley shoots that zombie cop, and Riley's trying to calm down the bleeding and stuff until Cholo's trying to kill him, but the kid just grabs Riley's gun and takes his own life. Very vicious. Like, man, that's really rough part. But they pack it up, they get out of there. Riley's pissed at Cholo what the hell he just did. He forced that kid to get killed. Of course, Cholo is going to meet with Kaufman, who is played by Dennis Hopper, and he plays a really good performance as an asshole in this movie as Kaufman, like the main guy that owns the Riddler Green building. Like he's like the penthouse owner. Oh, and before he goes and meets him, he encounters a situation that goes on at his neighbor's apartment, and there's this old guy that took his life, but he turns out he's a zombie, and the son wants to take him off, but it jumps and bits his son in the neck, and Cholo grabs the zombie that's about to cut it by his wife, until Cholo just grabs a big pipe metal thing and just starts bashing the dude's head. Boom. With a bunch of guts and not brain matter flying everywhere, smashing and caving it in. It is in the underrated version, not in the theatrical version. That's why there's two versions of the movie: the theatrical and underrated version. I would stick with the underrated version or extended versions because I just feel like they're the longer in the full movie. But on and on, that was a very badass moment from John Leguizamo. And of course, Riley's trying to get his car by Chihuahua, who's like this midget pimp dude. And like Riley's all pissed, like, what the fuck happened to my car? No, no, your guys are in there and my fucking car's not there. I'll get you out of here in your fucking hat if you fuck me again. Get me my car. And of course, Chihuahua was like, not giving a shit. He wants to shoot Riley. And he does after he saves Asia Argento, who's playing uh, a character that is almost going to be eaten by a zombie. And he shoots the zombies. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like black and white zombies. where no, not black and white. I mean black and red zombies because they spray can their mouth, which is weird. But I guess the zombies they don't care because they're dead. It's like they and it's like when they don't care if they eat children or they eat women or anybody else. They are vicious. They're like um they're like creatures. They don't care. They're monsters. But on and on. Boom, boom, boom. Riley shoots them. Chihuahua tries to shoot him, but Charlie shoots Chihuahua instead with crappy CGI, which I'll get to that. That's a rant. But of course, it was kind of a funny part. It's just the CGI just looked goofy. But on and on, I that was a really interesting part of the movie. And of course, you get the zombies. They're coming in. They want to take over. And of course, they attack the army crew. They go through the big fence, and Big Daddy, he's like the zombie that sneaks. He does a really creepy jump scare where they're like looking and they don't say there's nothing there, man, and then boom, they turn the light, and he goes, "Rah!" like yelling, and then of course they get eaten by the zombies off screen. Then they crash through the fence. They start eating each of the soldiers one at a time, biting their legs off, biting their neck off, biting their eyes out, their fingers, their stomach, the organs out, just biting everything like they're eating. Because these zombies, even though they are kind of like the same zombies that Romero would have, like as slow moving zombies, but you know what? They are still vicious. They are brutal zombies. They eat a lot of stuff from humans, and then one leads to another. Um, Big Daddy leads all the zombies to the river, and they made the iconic scene, which Twilight Eclipse rip off the scene. You know that Twilight vampire movie? When that movie Eclipse, they rip off the scene where Big Daddy is coming out of the water with all the zombies. And it's such a awesome, iconic shot of the movie where they're having their heads coming out from the water, face out, and then boom, you get like a really good music behind the background, and you see all these thousand zombies coming out of the water, and it's kind of like also an like a tribute to. It's also like a tribute to Fulci Zombie because originally that's how the zombies were supposed to come out in Zombie 2. That was such an iconic shot where they're coming out of the water. Like that is such on one of the most badass scenes from a zombie film in period. But on and on, they have all the crews that they recruit, Age Agendas with Riley and Charlie. And they recruit the other characters. One of them's the big guy, the big Samoan guy, Pillsbury, and they recruit everybody, and boom, they go to war with the zombies. One of like two of them gets eaten by a zombie, and they have to be put out of their misery. They find Cholos because he took in the truck that was belonged to Kaufman, and boom, they take their control of it. Cholo and his other friend they go on their part. They don't follow with Riley, so they leave. But Cholo gets unexpectedly bitten, and it's oh man, he's done. He's gonna be a zombie already. And of course, his friend gives him and a light of cigarettes to smoke, and having this good last talk with him before he transforms and leads him into a building that goes into the mall parking lot. And of course, the zombies are making through their rampage through the city, killing people, biting their necks, biting their eyes out. One of them even squeezes their mouth, from their lips, squeezing their face off. That is such vicious. Even it's only on the underrated cut, and that is a brutal scene. One of the zombie gets burned up, and Big Daddy has to push it out in his misery with using the gun, and then he gets a jackhammer and uses it to as a weapon to have all the zombies use all the weapons to break through the entrance of the Whittler's Green mall and stuff, and then they start tagging more civilians, biting them limb to limb. They encounter the Kaufman dude who's like Dennis Hopper, who's like just a scumbag character. Just he killed like his assistant where he thought he was a zombie, but boom, he just turns him around and shoots his assistant. Like the character is a scumbag. Of course, he's all cocky. He's like shooting at Big Daddy, like, you bastards, you have no right. And of course, it pisses off Big Daddy, and he grabs the gas thing that's in the by the car, and he punctures it into the window and leaks glass in there. Walks away. Kaufman tries to get keys, but he encounters a zombie, and it turns out it's Cholo as a zombie, and he's about to bite him until Big Daddy rolls a bunch of fire, a rolling can that explodes it with the gas and explodes it. Big explosion. And Riley and his crew are trying to clear up a bridge that's shooting a lot of zombies. And one of the zombies that he gets almost attacked and almost bitten by was played by Greg Nicotero from K&B. K&B did the effects for the movie, which is badass. Because Greg Nicotero is a lot known to be in special effects and stuff, and he's a great special effects dude. He played the bridge zombie that Riley gets it decapitated the zombie's head. So Riley, he makes it back to the crew, shooting a few more zombies in the headshots. And of course, they make it to the part of the city to save people, but they're too late. They're getting eaten and mauled by the zombies, and then they have to blow all the zombies up. They're eating all the people. Too late, but only like a few civilians are still alive, and it's one of the homeless guys with his civilians friends that survived survived the rampage, and on and on. That dude makes it out with his son and his friends. They have their conversation with Riley, and then Pillsbury saves one of the crew members by shooting a half torn up zombie that snuck into the truck, and he says, boom, throws it out. Now we could go. They go, and then Riley kind of sees Big Daddy looking at him far away in distance, and then boom, they ride away with Riley, Asia Argento's character, Robert Joy, and Pillsbury. They're riding into the sunlight to go to another state to like hide out, and that ends the movie. Which I think it would have left off in a cliffhanger to the next movie, but it didn't cliff off to diary or survival. So it's still like up in the air, like it's in a cliffhanger. But all in all, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the cast were good. I thought the directing was good. I thought the music was pretty good. I thought the effects were good. And I thought the movie wasn't that bad. I really think it's an underrated zombie film. The con that I have with the movie, it does have some shitty CGI blood that does hurt the movie. But all in all, I actually do enjoy the film. It's just the CGI blood does looks too obviously out of fake. I don't know. I just don't like seeing CGI blood. It just looks bad. And all in all, that's it. It's just the CGI blood looks bad at times because they use a lot of CGI blood. But there's some that only use it like in dark shots that you can barely see some. But when it's like obviously shown, especially when Charlie kills Chihuahua, that scene is ruined with CGI blood, which I thought like, oh man, they should have used practical. But all in all, I enjoyed George J. Romero's Land of the Dead from 2005. Definitely a very underrated zombie film that kicks ass. Yeah, hit the like, subscribe. Take care, everybody.